Welcome to Asia Global Online, the digital journal of the Asia Global Institute. My name is Alejandro Reyes. I'm Director of Knowledge Dissemination at the Asia Global Institute, and I manage Asia Global Online. Currently on Asia Global Online, we have an article by Dr. Chen, who is an adjunct professor, associate professor at the Global Health Institute of Xi'an, Jiaotong University, among many roles that he has, and we'll talk about that later. Now, in his article, Chen has talked about the US-China competition, particularly in technology, what he calls a kind of geopolitical, technological, geo-tech competition. And he has written on Asia Global Online and in this article about the opportunity costs if the US and China do not collaborate, and if there's some accelerated decoupling of the US and Chinese economies, that there are bound to be serious implications for trading, technology, and financial partners of both nations. So he really is calling for, I suppose, keeping the eyes on the prize, which is to deal with the global challenge of all the issues like such as the pandemic and such that require cooperation, particularly between the US and China. So thank you, Chen, for joining us from Guangzhou. Welcome. Welcome to Asia Global
Thank you.
Online. So Chen, you know, can we talk a bit about this collaboration? Why you think that it's more important for the US and China to collaborate, and why you think it's actually uh, that there would actually be issues if they didn't. You know, you write very clearly that the logic is on the side of collaboration. So tell us why you see that.
Um, I would like to understand your question, like why. I'm thinking they could be collaborating with each other. Um, Actually, as I have presented in my article, it could be based on three reasons following. Uh, First, the global challenges, need their collaboration from global health, climate change, cyber security, data regulation, terrorism, the trading system, and the recovery of the economy. On the other hand, they share the common interests in existing supply chain, as I have demonstrated in my articles. Chinese market contributed 47.8%. It could be 11.6 billion US dollars turnover for Qualcomm. And Huawei imported 18.7 billion US dollars from US market last year. Second, it's normal to transfer some industries to the domestic markets, such as medical resources, for national security consideration when especially pandemic outbreak. Besides, we can see not all the people benefit from the globalization. We need a reform for the global trade system and strengthening the global governance for a more equitable resources allocation system rather than completely decoupling. So second reason is just like that. It's not strange.
Yes.
Third,
Yeah.
the
Sorry. Go
economic.
ahead.
Okay. The third reason is that the economic growth will be slower for the next decades years due to the limitation of technology advancement. As I have said, I don't think 5G is a revolutionary breakthrough in the history. Maybe 6G. Correspondingly, more unemployment and social protests can be seen globally. The pandemic just accelerates this progress. Without collaboration between China and the US, even US cannot get rid of the domestic challenges, especially more jobs creation. So I have presented the rooted courses for the bilateral parties to promote collaboration. Currently, we can see a lot of arguments or quarrels from diplomatic departments to civil institutions between them. It's not weird. We know US needs this as the outcome of inside economic and political pressure, especially the presidential election is approaching. Next year could be a bit better next year. I think as long as they are realistic, as long as the leaders of China and the US, they are realistic and reasonable, they will sit down to negotiate with each other. So no need to worry about it. When we rememorize the episode long years later, we will find it's just one of the special periods between great powers in the history. Not that strange.
Interesting. Now, of course, do you think a lot of that depends on who wins the presidency in the United States, or you don't think would that make a difference whether you have a second Trump administration or a Biden presidency, or are we essentially going in the same? We'll be going in the same direction regardless.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter.
So you think? So you mean? So you think it's a big topic for these times, right?
Right, I suppose. Well,
okay.
but let me ask you a different question then. Right now the momentum appears to be more towards the decoupling, and that's the rhetoric that we hear. So what are the consequences if there is no collaboration? What are the losses that you see? You've written about the sort of opportunity costs of not collaborating.
Oh yeah. So actually, for most researchers, they will be talking. Oh, okay, it's a big issue. China and U.S. competition. Initially, I agree with them. But if we consider like this, this question just like the other side of the previous question. I have answered they have to collaborate. And first, more global challenges will be out of control. For example, more poor people in developed countries, and almost all the people in developing countries will suffer from the pandemics, geological disasters, personal information leakage, terrorism, and lose jobs under a slower economic growth world. More multinational companies will invest less to the research and development department. Correspondingly, less innovative technologies emerge. It's just like a reciprocal causation. Better regions cause the better consequences and cycled. Second, higher costs will be paid by US companies without an efficient global trade system. Chinese suppliers cannot be replaced. Not only their relative low costs, but also high qualities of the parts of ICT, car making, or even cutting-edge scientific researches in biology, pharmacy, physics, chemistry, or mechanical engineering. The cost will be taken by the US average people. Third, a stable regime relies on a stable job creation, so that the US. Similarly, a stable global order relies on a stable global collaboration to fight with the common challenges, not only in great powers themselves, but also developing countries. The absence of the global collaborations, the whole world, surely, including China and the US, will take the cost. Who wins? Politicians. But the economy, science, and the most people worldwide lose. So I don't think, the world will be approaching to this direction.
In other words, you really see no alternative but the collaboration. That's really your point.
The leaders, they are smart. Even President Trump, I'm talking, he's smart. Or the next president, he's smart. I don't think the world will be like this.
Now, Chen, I think what's very interesting about your background is you really do quite a lot. You're an expert on smart city planning, on this geotech issue. You're at the Global Health Institute. You were working at ZTE. Now, tell us a bit about your background and your many interests and many roles. You wear a lot of different hats, so it's very interesting your career.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I have different academic education and pragmatic working experience from PhD study, postdoc, researcher, senior visiting fellow, adjunct professors in a lot of academic institutes, and a leader in multinational company. I benefit from my diversified and systematic training from philosophy, ecology, smart city, enterprise strategy, geopolitics, and public health. I have to say, people always cannot predict what they will meet. So actually, I have no concrete plan for this originally. I mean, I cannot plan that when I was 25 or 30. I don't know. So just following the needs of the times, which has a lot of challenges and surprises. Now it's a mixed life, academic research and business practices. I mean, that's my life. Now I'm studying why the absence of the global collaboration to fight with the COVID-19 pandemic, unlike Ebola or AIDS. We cannot explain it just based on science or public health policy, but a hyper-securitization and a great power rivalry, so that geopolitical, technological competition. So generally, my researches are more relating with global health and geotech competition. I'm also leading smart city planning globally to promote a regional integration based on and integration like industry, governance, information and communication technology, and multilateral collaboration. That's my part of pragmatic business
Interesting. Yes,
activities. Yeah.
you're a bit of a renaissance man in that regard. I'm
No, no,
wondering.
no, 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 no. It's not a stunt. I mean, yes, I'm doing in both academic researches
Yeah.
and pragmatic business, and aims at promoting global collaboration rather than encouraging global rivalry. I'm just thinking I can use all what I have to promote this goal. And I also have to collaborate with a lot of smart guys worldwide in the US, Singapore, Europe, or Japan, or South Korea. Yes.
And here in Hong Kong.
Really, now I'm working with another smart guy in Hong Kong, Reyes.
Now, Shenqi, one last question, because you're in Guangzhou. Tell us a bit about your COVID-19 experience in terms of self-isolation. How did that go in terms of your experience in Guangzhou?
During the pandemic, actually, I mean, I stay at home. I mean, everybody has to stay home. Um, this community, I mean, my home, I mean, seaside community in Nansha, the south end of Guangzhou City, pretty close to Hong Kong. It could be 1.5 hours by cruise. And but not many residents live here during Spring Festival in January or February. So it's not very much affected. For the most families here, maybe the difference just the foods. I mean, a bit expensive, but not much. And everybody must wear face mask to go outside. Initially, it's not easy to find face masks, but soon most people can access to face masks provided by the government. In general, generally speaking, it's quiet and peaceful as usual. People feel sad when they watch TV showed a lot of victims in China and the world. Politics is always sophisticated. However, during the disasters of public health and climate change, politics should collaborate with the scientific community. It's not easy, but we can have a try to hand in hand. Oh, it's sad for the human being in 21st century. just like you and me, I mean, Reyes,
Yes.
we are collaborating. I mean, that's the word we have to live, not the word that we have to fight.
Yes. Now, everything's reopened now in Guangzhou and everything is coming back to normal a bit in Guangzhou, or?
Generally speaking, it's normal. I mean, sometimes you can see some people they are wearing face mask, and when you take the bus, you have. I mean, the bus drivers need to test your temperature.
Oh, right. Okay.
And everybody, maybe not everybody, but most people they will wear face mask. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's not popular in China previously. I mean, now it's good habit for Chinese people, and even for the worldwide. And so in Guangzhou, maybe I mean many restaurants now they are closed. You know, not many people will eat outside. Maybe they will have dinner or lunch at home. So generally speaking, normal as usual.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the life now is peaceful.
Well, thank you, Chen. It's lovely to have you join us from Guangzhou. Thank you again for your contribution to AsiaGlobal Online. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. So thank you. Please read Chen Xi's article on through the link below and subscribe to AsiaGlobal Online. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Reyes.